I have got myself a stitch book. I think I saw it on a YouTube short first, or possibly Instagram. And they were using card to demonstrate how to do stem stitch. I thought, oh, that's a really useful way of practicing. And it's kind of marketed as a practice tool, a portable practice tool. So I thought I would get hold of one. I think it was from Amazon, but there are plenty of places that sell it online, and have a look at it. So the first thing you notice is it's really good thick card, which is great because obviously stitching through paper and card is really tricky. It looks like it's made in China, but obviously it does have the English names as well. So you're going to start with running stitch, which is your basic stitch. And it's a shame, this is quite a big piece of card. It's a shame there's not a couple of lines, because really you need more than one line to practice a stitch. You need plenty of practice. But it's quite straightforward. Again, one line of back stitch, and you're working from right to left. But when you come to stem stitch, it looks like you're working left to right. And this is where the stitches get a little bit more complicated. Stem stitch without thin ends of line. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that. And what you really need is some instructions, a little bit more instructions, or to already know the stitches, in which case it is purely a practice book rather than a learning tool, or a video. And I had a look on YouTube and I could not find anyone, even in the shorts, it didn't seem to come up with the title I was putting in. So it's actually going to be quite difficult to do some of these without already knowing the stitches. Also, what they don't tell you, and which I would recommend, is when you're stitching on card or paper, is to pre-punch the holes. So I have had a little go on a Christmas card last year, so I just started embroidering it, didn't look up how to do it, and quite a lot of the card, the holes just sort of moved together. The stitches, well, it didn't work basically. And then I looked into it a bit more, and everyone says you need to pre-punch the holes. So I've gone through and I've punched little holes everywhere there is a black dot. So you can see, I think, on the back there. So that is going to make it easier for us to try and stitch. Also, it is tied together, but I'm already bending the top of the cardboard, so I think when you start stitching you'll need to take it off. I'm going to have a go at a few basic ones, and then I will probably finish the rest maybe in shorts. See the long and short here, that is so regimented, that's going to look actually like brick stitch. And French knot, how you would know what to do there without knowing how to do a French knot, I don't know. So I'm thinking the card is good quality, I really like the idea, but without further instructions it's not a teaching tool, but then maybe it is good for practice. So let's have a little go. Let's start running stitch. I'm using quite a large-headed needle and 3 strands of my thread. And just look on the back, see where I made my pre-punched hole. Up we go. Quite good for practicing keeping the same size stitches all the time. And actually, to make it more useful, I could have pre-punched some more holes directly underneath, so then you go round, because this is actually just 4 stitches. There we go, running stitch. Let's pre-punch some more holes and go back. If you're gonna pre-punch holes, it might be good to sort of assign a needle to that job, because I imagine it does blunt the needle quite quickly. Let's try a bit more. Oh, and now I'm going the other way. So let me turn back, turn it upside down, so I'm still doing right-handed. It's interesting, I looked at the book and I thought, maybe I am a left-handed stitcher after all, because some of them look quite awkward to do, and I'm not sure if that's just the way they've drawn them out, or whether actually I'm starting to prefer using my left hand. So with the pre-punched holes, I am tending to keep turning it over, which is not how you'd naturally do your embroidery, always looking at the back. It's good to check your back sometimes, but you don't always look at it. So there we have 2 running stitches. Not bad. Let's try a back stitch. So you go down, up at 1, down at 2, up at 3. This is one of my most used stitches, so I feel like it's making me forget how I actually do it rather than practice how I do it. Down at 4, up at 5. Down at 6. And there's not really enough room on this card to draw some more stitches. Sorry, to stab some more stitches. Although I say that, I could just do it over the writing. It's not, I don't think I need to be precious about this. But there you have backstitch, and that is pretty uniform. Some of my backstitch is a bit higgledy-piggledy. So if you did want to practice getting the stitches the same time each time you did them, then this might be quite useful for you. I'm just going to show you stem stitch, because this is what I saw when I saw this product being advertised. And stem stitch I can do, but I feel like I do a row and then at some point something goes slightly wrong, so it's not one of my favoured stitches because I'm not that good at it. But we will give it a go using our stitch guide. So you come up 1, come down 2. Now this is really sort of massive. Really, I don't think you'd be using this side stitches. Now before you come up, it's not like back stitch, you come up before you pull this loop down, and I find sometimes that the loop is stuck and I don't know what I do wrong when that happens. So we're going to come up at 3. And then you pull it and it should lie like that. So we're going to go over to 4. And I am working with my right hand but going from left to right, so I don't know what's going on here. Hold it with your thumb, I find that helps. Then come up. So actually this seems quite easy, so maybe this was useful for me to practice my stem stitch. Got to remember to always keep this on one side, so you can put it above the stitch if you want, as long as all the way across you're putting it above the stitch. I'm keeping it down just so my thumb can hold on to it. Then I've ended the stitch above, so then you would actually just go down there if you were finishing your line. Oh, I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to reserve judgment and work my way through some of the others, and I will let you know what we think about the stitch book.